Hi, all. Thanks for being here this week for another edition of Deborah Kobylt Live. And we're actually starting with video from what's been going on here in Southern California. Over 260,000 acres have been charred down here in Ventura counties, Los Angeles County, Santa Barbara, and San Diego County. And the firefighters are still out there every day, every hour, every minute, battling these fires. And on the air with us right now, we've got Scott McLean. He's the Cal Fire Deputy Chief. Scott, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Really, I appreciate you taking the time. How the heck do you guys go out there day in and day out? In fact, I saw some video early on on a newscast this morning with one of the guys just falling apart. He couldn't take it anymore. He was overheated. How do you continue day in and day out to battle these fires? It's got to be an incredibly difficult task.
Exactly. And we're in December. What is it, December 13th? I mean, this has been a year-long battle for Southern California. There is no season in that phrase fire season anymore for Southern California. As far as these major incidents like this on California, we work a full 24 hours on throughout the day and into the night, and then we have 24 hours off to get that needed rest cycle.
You know, I went down to one of the areas where they just go and refuel. You know, we were feeding some of the firefighters who were down there at the Jackie Robinson Stadium over by UCLA. And the guys have great attitudes. They're coming in from battling, 24 hours. And I'm just surprised that they're all not passing out. You're all heroes. It's amazing to me. How do you prepare for something like this?
Well, individually, it's through training. It's not that we sit in those lounge chairs that, there's that scenario that we see every once in a while. We're out there getting exercise. We have to in order to be able to do this, as you can see. Eating the right type of meals. I mean, when these major incidents start, we make a city. We build a city within a day, and that is to support the firefighting effort. And part of that is the nutritional type meals. This is all thought out.
What's the toughest part of these fires, of fighting these fires, and how do you go about doing it?
Well, as far as the toughest part, it's Mother Nature right now in Southern California with the Santa Anas that we've had to deal with. When we first got involved that Monday afternoon, they were starting to blow 40, 50, 60 mile per hour sustained winds, and then 80 mile per hour wind gusts, and that's hurricane force winds. That's started
intense.
74.
Now you're talking about the Thomas fire, right?
That is correct. And basically, I'm talking about the creek, the rye, and, of course, the lilac started a day later.
Right. We were ready to evacuate. We actually had our suitcases right at the front door, everything ready to go,
Good.
Car parked outside. We were about a mile and a half from the, I'm calling it the Skirball fire, but the one right next to the Getty. And you guys are brave enough. You got that one out very, very quickly. But a lot of folks were not so lucky. I believe near me we lost 6 homes, 6 structures. But how many structures total have been lost, all told?
Destroyed over 1,200 structures, and we're still assessing that. I think we're about 50% of our assessments are done on the Thomas fires. All the other fires have been completed. We, as far as CAL FIRE, have teams that are specialized in this aspect as well.
How do you get it under contain? I mean, how do you do that? You hear about 5% contained, 10%, 25% contained. What does that mean? Does that mean put out? Or, a lot of people get confused about that.
Well, there's contained and there's controlled. So let's start with the contained part. You're always seeing that number, the 5%, 10%, 15, back to 10, maybe up to 25. It's not just that perimeter that we're containing. It has to do with the interior of that fire area as well. So there's a lot of factors in play. We need to make sure we get those containment lines around the exterior part of that fire, and those consist of, could be a road, could be a body of water, and then it could also be the lines that we cut into down to bare earth with dozers and hand crews. So that's part of it. Then past that, inside that fire area, we have to provide that there are no other areas that could pop up and burn. What I'm trying to get across is throwing an ember across those lines. So we go way into that fire area, making sure it is dead out.
How do you even know how many men and women on the ground and in the air that you need to fire something, to control something like that, especially when it can just get out of control? What do you do? Just all hands on deck? I mean, that just seems like such a daunting task for those of us just sitting here watching you do it,
It is actually a thought-out process. It doesn't do anybody or any of us any good if we just bring in resources, just throw them at it. We can't. How many aircraft are we going to need? What type of aircraft? So each aircraft, for an example, has its own special place in this fight. The 747, yep, it can drop 18,100 gallons. That's great. But we need to make sure it's an effective drop in appropriate areas. Our little S-2s, they drop 1,200 gallons of retardant. They're very maneuverable. They get into those draws. They're really designed for the California firefight, for Cal Fire. Dozers, how many dozers do we need to make sure that this line is cut in this amount of time? It's all thought out as far as rule of thumbs and everything. For example, back to the aircraft, rule of thumb on the winds that we've had to deal with for all this whole fire, 30 miles per hour or stronger, the retardant starts to become less effective when dropped.
Oh, really?
So again, yeah, so there's a lot of factors, water supply, helicopters, all these, it's like an orchestra to get that all together.
What can people do, and how can people help you right now? I mean, are you in need of funds? And if so, where can people donate? Are people, what can we do? Again, those of us sitting by watching you do this.
We appreciate that, don't get me wrong, but actually, I work for you. You are paying me to do my job. So as far as donations, no. However, on the volunteer firefighter side, they're always needing funds. So within your communities, if you have a volunteer firefighter, please check in with them. Offer them some money so they get those newer tools and enhance their abilities to respond in your areas. As far as logistical support like water, I had a information trailer at one fire one time. We've got so much bottled water delivered, it was bigger than our trailer in size when we all finished stacking it up. But again, we build these cities to logistically support these firefights, and that is what has been done. We appreciate it immensely. I mean, it makes us feel great. But please, these type of items, take them to the Red Cross. Support those people in need. We're looking at like 90,000 individuals still under evacuation order.
So you support the Red Cross. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do is say, when you leave here, if you want to just do something, a small part, the Red Cross is a great place to start.
Sure, and or whatever those recovery efforts as well. I mean, we're looking at a lot of recovery efforts going up in Northern California now, in Sonoma, Napa, Butte, Yuba, and Mendocino counties. So whatever you can do to be involved in that is also a big help.
Scott McLean, Cal Fire Deputy Chief, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us. Be safe out there, and we'll be thinking of you and praying for you. And thank you again very much, and have a great holiday.
Thank you for having me, and you do the same.
Okay, thanks very much. Wow, Tony, right? That's really scary. And I know last week was your birthday, and I couldn't even get out to even come celebrate because, but we were fine. We just had our things packed and ready to go, but never did we have to evacuate.
Well, that's good.
But I wanted to do something for these guys and gals. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I just went over to my local staging area where they were serving food, and that just made me feel good to do something for these people,
Right.
They are so brave, and like he said, they're working for us, but there's a lot of people that are out there volunteering, and, who knows how much longer this is going to go on. It's really, really, really scary.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Anyway, So now in studio with me, because a lot of times I sort of take a break and go to another show. So thank you very much for being patient with me.
Gosh, community is so important to fires, and actually my childhood home is up in the hills of Santa Barbara. So.
Oh no! Let me first introduce who you are, Dr. Erin Fall Haskell. And you are a doctor of divinity. You're also the host of Good Morning La La Land. I love the name of that, Good Morning La La Land.
Just launched it.
That I know. That's terrific. I'm going to hopefully be a host on, not a host, a guest on your show.
Definitely on the
which
show.
would be a lot of fun. And you just launched that show. Tell me a little bit about it, Good Morning La La Land.
Oh, gosh. It's so much fun. I don't know if you guys are anything like me, but coming to L.A., I found that it's like heaven and hell here.
Coming to L.A. from
Santa Barbara, and then a long story, I've been over in Utah, but coming to L.A., it's an intense place. And it was in my heart to basically have a show that was about positivity, that was about showing kind of what is the beauty behind LA, because I think people see the celebrityism and all the crap and all the insanity, And there's incredible
Look,
community
we're just
here.
folks like anybody else.
Right?
You know, I come from back east, and a lot of people go, it's almost like we're not real out here. We're just regular people with families and problems and good things and bad things every day, just like everybody else. So I'm glad you're doing a show to highlight the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything.
I want a morning show. You know, it's like a dream of mine. I want to have a morning show, have fun with people, all the great peeps in LA. We get to have coffee together. Have
So
real
much,
talk.
so much fun, real fun stuff. Do we have a clip from her show that you can pull
so.
for me?
Yeah, so we have.
It's been a blast, honestly.
No, how can people see it, by the way? Good morning.
We have it every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can find it on Good Morning La La Land at Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We live stream every single day there.
So you're everywhere.
We're
Good morning.
everywhere.
That is wonderful. Where are your studios, by the way?
Focus TV Studios, Andy Walbin. It's amazing in West Hollywood, and we have. It's actually we're making history. It's actually the first live streaming daily lifestyle show. Actually, believe it or not, we are like the first that's actually doing that because we're not a traditional network show. And so it's been really fun to, we have lots of big eyeballs, managers, PR people looking at it going, whoa, what's going on? No one really has an actual show in LA right now.
That's
It's
weird. I mean, how could that be? We just
It's
said at the same time.
weird.
That's weird. So now you're spearheading something like that. That's
Right.
something- But as a doctor of divinity, we were talking on the phone a little bit. What does that mean?
Well, that means that we all manifest and co-create with the entire universe. It's basically how we create crap or how we create lives that we love. That's what I teach. I teach how you are, creating your reality and how to.
So what do you do? Like I call you and say, Dr. Erin, I need help with my life because it's not going the way it should.
Sure.
What do you do? Do you
It's a great
start by
question.
initially?
Subconscious work. Number
Okay.
one is actually we deal with trauma in the subconscious because when we all have trauma, whether it be this lifetime or last, whichever you want to believe, and we make commands. We basically we inform our subconscious mind by deep, intense emotions, and in those emotional times, we decide things and we basically command the subconscious to do things.
You know, it's interesting. And you can work that way, but there's some people who are so stubborn they just won't go there. Do you know what I mean? They won't allow themselves to go deep enough to get through the emotional part to break through the other side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, life's going to have a way of having you a breakdown for your breakthrough regardless. So it doesn't matter if you do it or, it's going to happen for you either way.
But you made a good point. You said trauma. I think no matter how incredibly great your life is, one point or another, we've been through something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of trauma, all kinds of trauma. And that's the toughest part to really get to and work on. And how long does that take someone? Do you talk them through it? Do you?
It's a great question. You know what? There's new techniques coming out. I'm a Dr. Divinity, so I don't do EMDR, I believe it's called. So cognitive therapists even believe in the same thing. We just, as a spiritualist, we go into past lives. It's no different. Our processes are the same. So there's great technology coming out with dealing with subconscious. I'm dealing with a company called Karma Coins right now, who I'm becoming the ambassador for Los Angeles. And they're all about they're doing good deeds and giving coins away to have it like pay it forward. But all funds raised are going towards vets and Army people and people who have PTSD. It's a real deal. The reality is that whether you've been a war vet or whether you're just, raised in a silver spoon in your mouth, we all have trauma, every last one of us. So, people want instant gratification, but the reality is that it's taken you lifetimes to get this entangled. So it takes some time to get your freedom.
But what does that mean? How do you start the process when you work with someone?
Yeah, you go into a session just like you would with a therapist, and you begin to go into those traumatic moments and begin to basically what we call decharge the mental pictures around, neutralize them.
So how do you do that?
Well, for instance, say you had a trauma. Pick one thing that happened to you that was a trauma.
Okay.
You don't want to say it?
Nope.
Okay. So
Nobody attacked me or anything.
Okay,
So,
so let's just pretend that you
something
have
someone did to me. And
Okay.
It was so cruel that I've had trouble, even to this day, shedding it.
Okay, cool. So
Really
yeah.
a lot of trouble. And I've recognized, wow, this is traumatic. Can't talk to the person at all. It's just been so traumatic for me that I don't know what to do with it because I can't get any closure. They say that, my God, I feel like this is a session all of a sudden.
Why not?
Why not? You and I keep saying the same thing at the same time. Don't they say that's good luck or something,
Synchronicity.
Yeah. So, they say if you've been raped, right? It's God forbid. for someone to address that rapist and say, you did this to me, really helps to free them. But for me, I've been sort of stuck with something because I don't have that opportunity.
Sure. So
to do
most
that.
people will have a traumatic incident. And not only is it affecting them, but it gets triggered by other things. So I'm imagining that this thing that you're talking about probably gets triggered within other relationships, other circumstances. And it plays
I don't
out.
know, it seems to stand alone.
Okay,
you know,
cool.
and I can't
Well-
seem to rectify it. You know,
Sure.
as much as you just move on in life. You know, I'm very capable of moving on. This is one thing I'm struggling with. So let's say someone else is out there saying, "Yeah, me too."
Sure.
What
So
do you
what we do is we actually go back into the scene, the actual incident that happened. And you can call it prolonged therapy for a cognitive therapist, or you can call it Socrates process or whatever. But we go in and we go through that process and we go through that actual incident happened until there's no more emotion around it. You feel the emotion so much, you neutralize those mental pictures so that you can look at it fully without it feeling like you're the effect of what happened. Because the reality is that you can never be the effect of anything in life.
Right.
And I'm going to say that again.
I've tried
You can
to do
never
that.
be
It's
the
just-
effect.
I almost feel like it's stuck somewhere at a traumatic time, and I'm trying. I'm really
Well,
trying
it's
to
at a
let this-
subconscious level, so you can't try and evaluate it. It doesn't work like that. Your subconscious mind, you have to get into the subconscious mind.
And that's what you do with people.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. So that can take time, though, right?
Yeah, it doesn't happen in 2 sessions, but you can have huge breakthroughs in 1 session. But you've got it's like layers of an onion that you peel off, you know. And sometimes people have huge breakthroughs right away, and sometimes people need, it takes time. It's you've got a lot on your track.
You know, through all this I do a lot of reading. And, because I'm trying to sort of pull myself through it on my own. And through all the reading and just all the study that I've done, it's opened up so many other areas that have been so incredible and beautiful. So, yeah, if you take the time to do that, eventually, as you said, you peel the onion. And there's so much else there,
It's just, what else are you going to do? I don't know. We can have fun and just, pretend like it doesn't happen. Like we don't have to deal with anything. And people do that a lot. We go to drugs, we go to alcohol, we go to sex, we go to all these things. We go to overeating, we go to all this. And, it's fine. You don't have to do this work. But
yeah, for me, I decided to do marathons. That's how I decided to do it. I did a couple of marathons this year.
I
I'm
usually
like,
just shop.
yeah, I'm not a big
joking.
shopper, but I'm like, you know what? I got to figure this out. I'm going to go do a marathon. And then I'll go do another one. So
Yeah, lots of people just stay busy so they don't
Yeah,
have to
stay
actually
busy.
deal with whatever's really going on.
You
know?
mentioned fun, so you make it fun.
Good Morning La La Land is all about having fun. It's called Where the Shift Happens.
Do we have her clip yet?
I have the one video, yes.
Okay, can we
Right,
see
ready?
it? We could talk over that, right?
Well, that's Dr. Erin Show.
Hey, the other one.
Good morning, La La Land.
one?
I'm here with
Yeah.
Planet Hope, and we are wrapping probably over 11,000 toys today for over 20 different shelters throughout the LA area. We have incredible people here. Next year, you can be here doing this with us.
Good morning, La La Land. I am Lisa Piner, and I am here on Planet Hope's Toy Drive today. I have been involved actually for 20 years. My husband, Donald Piner, and I first started as giving shoes to the beginning of these toy gifts, and now she's built this after 25 years, if you look around, to an amazing, amazing charity event that Kelly, she is an angel.
Good morning, La La Land. My name is Carrie Bhatia, and I'm the Executive Director of Planet Hope. We're here today wrapping toys for homeless and abused children. This is the 25th anniversary of Planet Hope. We have today wrapping over 12,000 toys. Thousands were donated by Hasbro and so many other amazing organizations. Good morning, La.
This is not the show, just so you know. This is some footage that we had just from Sharon Stone and Kelly Stone's Foundation for Toys. The show itself, I sent you guys a clip, but it's in the studio. So it's a traditional, we're in front of a...
Do you have that, Tony? Can you find that for
Is
us?
that the other one? The other one that you sent? I only got 2 videos.
There was a link for it, so you guys can just check it out. But it's a traditional show. We actually are front of.
I didn't think so, but I thought, well, maybe they're just
Yeah.
live on the scene, and that's what she sent us. But I
right-
saw something else too. So if you can try and find it, or Misty, if you're listening, if you could send the link, because I would actually like to highlight that on here too.
Yeah, it's
because
super fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
we're
'cause
right
I
in
took
front
a
of a
look at-
window, like a
Yeah, no,
traditional
I
news
took a
show.
look at it. I mean, it's actually great. Is there anybody? Can we try and find a link of that? So what do you do? Pretty much on the show, you have guests. I mean, it's just pretty much what's trending, right? What's
There's
trending
3
out
hosts
here.
right now. We have Rob Mack, who is a love coach for Famously Single, who's one of my best friends, amazing, incredible human being, and Jeslyn Moyer, and she, everyone has really great synergy, and we talk about current events, and we give a positive spin, and we do a theme. So Monday's Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Transformation Tuesday, Wednesday's Wealth Wednesday, Thursday's Thought, all about mindfulness, Friday's about dating, sex, and love, and so we
That's the
have
one to tune
experts
into,
and
everybody.
miscellaneous people. We interview.
And how long is the show?
The show's an hour long. We do current events, and we do the topic of the day. We do a fun interview, and we recap and have some fun games.
That's a lot of fun, and it's live streams 5 days a week.
9 a.m. Pacific time.
Whose idea was it to do this?
The original concept was mine, and then Andy Waldman is kind of like an angel that's come into my life that has Focus TV Studio that's really, really making the whole thing possible.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
it's terrific. It's a lot of fun. Did you find it?
I think so.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yay! That's what I saw. Okay.
Good morning, La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I am
I was there
Rob
today.
Mack.
And I am Jezza Moyer. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Wednesday on Good Morning La La Land.
And look at the
Right, we
traffic
have a
behind us.
great
We
show
are
in
in
store
La
for
La.
you. It's all about Wednesday wisdom and wealth wisdom. We go over things like how to not get stressed out about money and things like that during the holidays.
Yeah.
We've got an epic guest, and we've got all kinds of Q&As around it, so you don't want to miss this show today. So who's our guest today?
You guys, I couldn't be more excited, more honored to have my dear friend, Phil Ranta, in the studio today. He is literally,
Hey,
good morning, Phil. He
Hey,
is
good morning.
pioneering the digital revolution
You know
in
what I-
Hollywood, and he is
I'm going to take it down now.
So,
at
Phil,
least
just
we
so you know,
Can you say
7
7
billion views a month. That guy, he is the manager for The Rock, for all huge YouTube people. So he was on our show today. He's actually Jeslyn's one of her dear friends also. So we have some huge hitters coming on our show. Like, it's insane.
You know what I love about it? I love that it just feels like you're in somebody's living room. I love live stream television. I really do, because it's so different than the old staid way of doing things. Like if you watch morning news shows, which I do not, because I just don't enjoy them. I just feel like they're too, I don't know, overly produced, and I love when they're
Right.
just live stream. It's just, anything can come out of your mouth. You could screw up, you could do
Right.
whatever. And
We get to get deep,
yeah, you get to get deep. Just anything can happen.
silly, goofy.
No, I
tell
think
fart
that's
jokes.
I think that's fantastic. Who are some of the other folks that are going to be coming on?
We have some incredible. We have. Trying to think of some of the big names coming on. We have some of the people from Famously Single coming on. Some celebs. We have from Nail and Bones, the foundation with dogs. We're featuring an animal once a month, little puppies for rescue and things like that.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
We're featuring the karma coin stories of people doing good deeds around LA. We're getting involved. We go to Max Mara tonight. We're just really, it's so much fun because we're just networking with the whole community in LA, and it's an incredible community.
You really, what you say is what you do, but it wasn't always easy for you. How did you get started in this whole journey? You were pretty young, right? And you
Yeah.
had your own kind of trauma.
Yeah, most people know I had a stillborn son when I was 22. And, I always think that was like the breaking point of something that was already kind of broken.
First of all, it's young enough to even have a kid.
Right?
22 years of age.
22. Way too young
And you
to
had
be having a kid.
full pregnancy.
Yep,
and,
full pregnancy.
I mean, I hate to ask, but did you know that the child that you were giving birth to a stillborn? I mean,
Yeah,
did you-
so what happened, I was actually in nursing school, and they say if your baby doesn't move, within 24 hours, go check it out. And so I was like, well, he hasn't moved today. And I just thought, oh, I'll go in and check it out. And the nurse was like, I'm going to tell you to go meet the doctor over at the hospital. And I was,
Oh, my God.
And it was like, I have to give birth to my dead child inside of me. I was like, okay. And then,
Do they have any idea what caused that?
I mean, he said it was just because the baby was so active that it rung his umbilical cord. just a fluke thing, really. And it was terrible. But the next day I went back into the mortician's house and I was alone in the basement in this really cold, dark room. And it was just one of those moments like, how can life be so cruel? And if there's a God, why would you ever,
Erin, I can't imagine. And at such a young age, I mean, most of us at 22 or even are hardly even prepared to be parents, let alone you think you're going to be a parent. And then suddenly the shock of delivering a child that is dead.
Yeah, but I mean, after, doing all my healing work, doing all my subconscious work, I don't have any emotions around it. I mean, it's all a blessing. I see it as I see it as the biggest blessing of my life. And, we all have freaking hard times. It doesn't matter if you come from an amazing upbringing or in the ghetto. It doesn't matter. Like, it's relative. And we all have trauma and we all have to deal with it. And it's all here I believe it's all here for us to awaken.
I do too. I really do too. I do.
Right?
So after that moment, you said you went through your healing work. How did you go about doing that? You said you were in nursing school.
Yeah. I mean,
So what
I
did
was
you do?
I was anti-religion because I grew up like in a hippie commune on the hills of Santa Barbara.
Okay, would you
So it
please
was
tell us
like-
about that? Because our backgrounds were so different. You grew up in some super cool hippie commune.
It wasn't super cool.
Tell me, what was that like? Like,
It
people
was
were just
like
running around all over
totally
the place, free
dysfunctional
sex?
parents, everyone like
Okay,
having
whoa,
no
whoa, whoa.
rules, really.
What was dysfunctional about it? I mean,
Well,
does
I
that sound
remember
like fun?
I remember like staring out of the window as a little girl and being like, Mom, why is the neighbor naked with just a hat on and his boots drunk in the garden? You know what I mean? So it was just random shit. Sorry, I'm not supposed to curse.
Oh, I
Sorry.
love when people curse on this show. It makes me feel at home. Please keep going. Go ahead.
No, honestly, it was this great place. It's called Painted Cave in the hills of Santa Barbara.
And is it still there? Painted Cave?
Yeah,
I want to
and-
go there and do a story on Painted
right?
Cave.
So it's the most ironic place because if you're it's kind of a hippie
Writing that
commune.
down.
It's not a real hippie commune, but it really was because it was like the leftovers of the 70s, really random. And in one direction, when you went, you pulled out of the community, you'd go down to literally a painted cave from the indigenous Indians. And then the other way you drove a little bit down was Jane Fonda's ranch. So we had this like
Did people just sort of spill over into her ranch with cowboy boots naked sometimes?
Sometimes,
What a crazy
Well,
ass
Joe
place.
Cocker lived on the ranch, so let me tell you, there was a lot of crazy times, a lot of cocaine, a lot of crazy stuff going on in that.
So you were this little
ranch.
kid growing up in this commune
Barefoot,
with
running
naked
around.
people. I mean, were
It
they
wasn't
just-
naked. It was like it was more like just, just typical like
Hippie,
leftovers,
just hippie stuff.
just hippie stuff.
Wow. Are your
Yeah.
parents still with us? Or
Yeah, both of them are, of course. Yeah.
do they still live there?
No, yeah, they're still there, naked, barefoot. And,
No,
up in the-
what became of them? I mean, did they move from the commune or?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're all amazing. My dad's a naturopath doctor. My mom's amazing, and no, they're over those hippie days.
I would think that would be cool. I mean, I was telling you on the phone, I grew up in a strict Catholic upbringing, and
Right.
even bringing a boy over was like, a 5-alarm fire.
Like I said,
Dad
it's
would
all
be standing
relative.
over me. So I'm not sure. It sounds like a lot of fun to grow up the way you did.
It was, but you know what it did was it made me really desire some rules. It made me want order. It made me desire that stability. And
Isn't it true? You go for the opposite. For
Right?
me, it was like I was running out the door to find the boys, and
Right?
you wanted some stability, So, all right, so you grew up in that environment, and then you
Mm-hmm.
left and went to school.
Well, yeah, I went to college to nursing school, and then I dropped out. I had my son. I got pregnant with my son, who's 22 now, a month after I had my stillborn. And then I was just striving for my spirituality, and so I just was reaching for like every possible thing. Of course, I stumbled on meditation right away. I didn't want to go to religion, but I was like going to conferences and seminars and reading all the books and doing all the stuff. I even did my shamanism, nine rites. I tried Scientology. You name
What was
it,
that
I
like?
tried it.
Whoa. What was Scientology
That was
like?
that's a whole show of
Gotta
itself.
know.
I've got a lot of stories around that. I'm definitely not a Scientologist. Let's get that straight.
Please give me a little insight into what that, because nobody will really tell you the truth. They'll go like everything is fine there, and then just
Yeah.
leave. But what was your vibe?
Well, I went to the church and realized right away that I didn't want to be involved with the church, but I was very fascinated with the technology because I'm a research junkie. So I was like, okay, so what is this all about? So basically, I discovered that L. Ron Hubbard basically copied a lot of the Socrates methods, Greek oracle processes, a lot of the other things, and then he kind of just like tried it all and made his own like shtick out of it. And so I was like, well, definitely don't want to be a part of church. I definitely don't want to be a Scientologist, but I want to do all those processes.
So you got a takeaway.
So I actually found somebody that was outside the church that knew the Socrates methods, and I did.
What are the Socrates methods?
They're very similar to all the psychology methods are based on the same work. So Socrates would ask in different questions and different perspectives, and in asking from different perspectives, you have epiphanies and cognitions, and you start to see things a little bit different than you ever thought about it. And
you gotta
then,
give me an example.
So, for example,
I get it conceptually.
Okay,
but
so
you have to tell
let's
me.
say, name a time that somebody hurt you, and you're like, okay, I got like 5,000 of those, and then you're like, name a time you hurt somebody, and you're like, oh, I guess that was kind of not that nice. I did kind of do that thing one time,
See?
and then you go, name a time others hurt others, and then you're like, yeah, that group kind of like bashed this other group, and all of a sudden you start seeing
things from different perspectives.
And then you're like, okay, so I can see where it's kind of, there's an exchange of energy and there's stuff going on here. And you begin to go.
That. It just opens you
right?
up to thinking in different ways. A lot of times traditional therapy, you're supposed to sit there and just talk. And then the end of the hour, they're like, okay. And then you think, oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah,
what
but that's
did
old
I
school
learn
therapy.
That's
old school. There's great therapy now. Cognitive therapy's come a long way. I used to be totally anti-traditional psychology, and now there's great processes they've come up with.
Really? Okay, so then I love that. So if someone comes to you, would you do that with them and just ask them, different questions so that
Sure,
they
that's a big track. Like very few people want to really do the work. Some people come because they want more money. They want to have, they want to find their love of their life. They want to lose 5 pounds. They want to whatever, all that crap. And quite frankly, I won't work with those people.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you help somebody like that? That would be difficult. So what kind of people do you work with?
I will only work with one-on-ones with people who really want to actually completely go through the veil of life and who actually want to make a difference. They're doing their work because they know they have a calling that they need to do in this lifetime.
So interesting. So the kind of people you work with are?
I used to work with a lot of celebrity addicts, and I used to take them through different cleansing, body, mind, spirit stuff, subconscious work. And now I only work with a very few select people that are committed at a level that is beyond what people could ever imagine. There's very few people that are committed to do their work.
But you got to give me some examples. Like, again, I keep asking for some, that's an example of someone that you would
sure.
want
Like I've worked with CEOs. I've worked with CEOs that come that are like, I have major issues. I have lots of money coming in, and I can't seem to keep my money. And I know that it's something going on in my subconscious. So I've worked with CEOs. I've worked with Grammy winners. I've worked with single mothers. I've worked with friends. I've worked with all kinds of people. You name it. Newscasters, all kinds of people.
And to get in touch with the subconscious, you tell them to...
You go into session, and so you begin to in the discovery and in opening those perspectives, you begin to open and basically expand the consciousness. And in expanding the consciousness, you then can begin to tap into past lives. You can tap into other people's consciousness. You can tap into universal truth. But you've got to expand it.
You believe in past lives. Do you also believe that when people have passed on, they're here with us?
I'm not a medium, but the reality is that we have a DNA. So whether you believe in past lives or not, every single thing that's ever existed in the universe, or not in the universe, but at least in your lineage, is in you. So, it doesn't really matter if you believe in past lives or not. The fact is you have all the energetic things that have ever happened.
Right, because it doesn't die. I mean, the body dies, but what encompasses
You're not your
the
body. Yeah.
Right, it does not.
Mm-hmm.
So... Even though you're not a medium, you believe that...
Do people stick around? I mean, do I believe in individual spirits is basically what you're asking. And quite frankly, I believe that our consciousness is so powerful that if you still believe you're an individual when you pass away, you will still have that existence as that individual. But the reality is that there's only one consciousness, which is spirit. Your true spirituality, the real work of spirituality is letting go of all your identities. Your true identity is divine. That's deep, but
No, I'm really thinking about that because I don't believe or disbelieve much of anything, and I'm not religious myself.
Yeah.
I think religion can just breed a great deal of good, but a great deal of evil. Not evil, but harm as well.
Putting God outside of the self is a very, very, dangerous thing.
You were talking about past lives.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your past life?
Well, I tracked them, and what was fascinating
And
about
how
it.
did you track it? I mean,
You go through, actually, it's kind of like Einstein said, it's actually through the imagination. And then all of a sudden, once you're in the imagination, you go, wow, it's like really real. And then I'd go into a past life or other things I'd see. And I'm not a history person at all. And I come out and Google and be like the exact date, exactly the event that happened and everything. So it is all in our consciousness. You can tap into all of it. So if you, how deep do you want to go in this
I
conversation?
want a real, like, concrete example because this is something that somebody can take away. You know,
Sure.
like,
Sure. For example,
What did you
and
see?
it's
What
been
did you
this
feel?
is quite some years ago, so I'm trying to remember the exact
I mean, were you
dates and stuff
Marie
like that.
Antoinette? You know, like, give me some kind of example.
For
of
example,
who you think you
being
were.
we were burned at the stakes. A lot of us witches, if you will. I mean,
Oh,
quite
I'm sure
frankly,
I was.
right? And you can see and you can track the date. You can see what people are wearing. You can see where it was, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, you can track it all. And
So you
and
were
look it
burned
up.
at the stake.
I witnessed a lot of people burning the stake.
Isn't that awful? The way people were treated.
I mean, they say
God.
5 million witches were burned. These are true abilities that we've just turned off. This is natural. It's not like this is weird. What's weird is that we're not like acknowledging these abilities.
Well, what's weird to me is that people think it's weird. Like, why not just go for it and just try and accept it, right?
just
and learn
accept
about
that you're
it.
a witch and get over it, okay?
Oh my God, I wonder. When I even think about that, I'm thinking, oh, they would have burned. I would have been like first in line.
Yeah,
It's like
right?
her.
She's a good witch, a bad witch. So she's like, this girl.
She's a troublemaker,
She's
her.
a trouble witch. She's a confused witch. Okay.
She has too many questions. Just take her away. So
Behead her.
But I know. So you feel that you were someone from the past who was able to witness burning at the stakes? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you can track. I mean, the reality is that we're all lifetimes, so you can track all of it. But it doesn't matter because we're here right now. So what's it going to do to go? Oh, this is my past life. Therefore, what? Like, it doesn't matter.
what do you
matters
say
is
to
that you're
people
now.
who don't believe there was a past life or who don't even?
They don't need to believe it. It's like not believing in gravity. I don't really care if you believe in it. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Why would I care if you believe in it?
I don't know because it just creates an entire picture. I suppose that's why.
They don't need to see the. We're already divine. Like, we're here creating ourselves in this limited experience. Like, have fun. It's not the truth.
Don't you
know?
feel like we don't have enough fun, or we're doing what it is we're supposed to be doing?
I have a lot of fun, so no, but
Not
yeah.
me, but I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people, I think they wake up and they go and do what it is that they feel like they need to do. Now, granted, it all depends upon your circumstance. There are some people born into very difficult circumstances.
course.
Who don't live here, who live elsewhere, who just, they're fleeing from their land. I mean, that's just a whole different situation, entirely. But if you live in a place where you're able to live free, I sometimes feel like people don't have enough fun. They're always on their phone. They're always thinking of work or money. I think that can really tie us down. How do you help people free from that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two ways of thinking. It's a lot of people go, well, how can I have fun when there's, wars going on, when there's people starving, when there's sex slavery, when there's blah, blah, blah. And I get that. Like, we're here to create the reality that we want to experience. So, and having said that, we can still have fun in the process. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can have fun trying to make good of something that's horrifying.
Right.
You can do that.
So the same energy that basically creates depression, creates then bounding, creates all that is the same energy that frees. So we can't just pretend like we're happy. That's bullshit. You can't
Complete
do that.
bullshit. No, I get it. But I love what you're saying. That same energy to bring you down. The whole thing is to try and tap into it to bring you up. You have to be in the right mindset. So how do you get somebody there?
Well,
that's what I mean. Because I know
yeah.
enough people. I'm one of those people that somebody will call and go, I need your help. And I'm not an expert. I tend to look at things very much in a positive way. But I'm not an expert to pull
There's
people
two
up.
ways of finding freedom.
Yeah.
One is having a strong enough of a consciousness that is so freaking badass that you can know the truth and instantly create anything you want. There's probably less than 1% of this planet that have that strong of a consciousness.
I feel that way.
Okay, it's probably like 0.00001%. Okay, the other way is to unentangle yourself. You've got to go in and realize how you have created all of it. How you literally have.
You're responsible.
Yeah, you have to be responsible.
Bingo. Okay, that's got to be tough for somebody to stand there and go, you're right.
Yeah, that rape that happened in high school, how am I responsible for it? How am I responsible being born into a crack addict mother? Because the reason is this. You have to understand that you're not individual. You're not separate.
Right.
These are
It's all
symptoms of all of
related.
it. Your consciousness is the individual consciousness, the collective consciousness, and the cosmic consciousness. So as long as you think you're separate, you will always suffer.
So then, what do you do? Okay, let's take it in case in point, the person born into the crack mom.
Yeah, I mean, this is a
Instead
symptom.
of feeling like a victim their entire lives, like, well, my mom was. What do you do to step
These
out
are
of it?
very, very advanced spiritual beings that have come in with a specific calling. Very specific calling.
Interesting.
And they chose that.
So how many people do you work with, during the week, let's say?
I'm not taking on a lot of one-on-one clients because we just launched Good Morning La La Land and I have Dr. Erin show. So I see very few one-on-one. I am very discouraged with one-on-ones, quite frankly, because there's very few people that want to really go the extra
I have
mile.
a very dear friend who studied psychology and she just quit. And she said, I can't do it. And I said, why? She said, because people come into my room for an answer and the answer's within them and they don't want to work hard. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
that you
and
said
it's
that
not,
to
I shouldn't
me.
say discouraged. It's just that I feel like I want to touch as many lives as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like my highest good is to bring these distinctions to the world and be a voice for the industry.
Right. So you're doing it
doing
with-
one-on-one is a lot of work for the actual practitioner, for the therapist. Like you have to sit there and walk
is.
through someone's entire track of their lifetimes. Yeah, I would much rather talk to 1 million people and be on a show and be able to bring these distinctions.
And
For
do it
sure.
with some humor and have a lot of fun.
And
with
have
it.
fun.
So, okay, tell me a little bit now more about Good Morning La La Land. So
Good
you're there
mo-
every day, 5
Yep.
days a week. Pretty much your idea to do this. And you're over at the Focus TV studios. And your goal is to just reach a lot of people, information, highlight what's going on in LA, the good in LA.
We get silly, we get goofy, we get whatever, and then we drop some like bombs of goodness. We drop like
Bombs
how
of goodness.
how universal law works, mindfulness, leadership skills. We how to connect, how to become an influencer online, how to deal with subconscious work, how to eat well, wellness, yoga, you name it. We're dropping bombs all over the place. Good bombs. So what would you call it? They're good bombs.
No, I think it's great.
Golden
I told
nuggets,
you
whatever, yeah.
I watched the link and I thought it was
Yeah.
I thought it was fun, but it was smart. You
Yeah.
could be fun, but you could be smart.
We don't want
But it
to
was
preach,
No, but it was fun. It was smart. It was current. I like that. It was current. Whatever's
Yeah.
going on, it was current. You talk a little bit about the news. I like that.
Yeah, we
So-
bring it back to positivity and even seeing, we even covered some of the fires the other day, which is really random for us. And just knowing like, how do you deal with being overwhelmed? How do you deal with stress? Because it doesn't matter if it's a fire or a traumatic incident or a breakup or your parent passing away. It doesn't matter. You've got to learn these things. And I don't understand why in elementary school we learned freaking geometry and geography before we
I always
learned-
say that. I've got
before
three
we
boys.
learned how to freaking even know how to like take care of this body. Like that's ridiculous.
I call it the one-room schoolhouse. Everyone just learns in the one-room schoolhouse. And I don't care if you go to a public school, private school, whatever. Everyone pretty much learns the same thing the same way. Do you know what I mean? But the stuff you really, really need to learn, they're not really learning, like growing your food. It'd be great to just grow
Right?
your own food. You can live in an apartment and get a little pot and you could still grow your own food right by the windowsill. It can be done. Just stuff like that. How to take care of yourself, as you said, your mind,
Right.
your body. Just stuff like that they're not teaching. How to sew a button on, something like that. We've kind of gotten away from the skills that were necessary a long time ago. I feel like we're at a point where we're going to start to get that back, don't you? I mean, look, oh my God, look at what the election in Alabama. I'm sure you were keeping track of that, right? I was thrilled. And this is not about party lines either, Democrat, Republican. It's just people are waking up, that we're in a period where we got to watch some of this.
I'm a firm believer in entrepreneurs and innovation. I believe that the new school systems that will come out are going to be entrepreneur based. That it's going to be about individual innovation. It's not going to be brought on by the government. I just don't. I mean, I think it's great.
I hope so. I
but-
think if anything is behind in this country, it's our education. Again, the one-room schoolhouse. It might as well be. Because regardless, I have 3 kids with 3 totally different learning styles. One's super artsy, one's super intellectual, and one is a sports guy. And they ended up going to the same school. They're in the same school, and they couldn't be more different in the way they learn and process, yet they're in that one-room schoolhouse, I don't know how we're going to change that, but...
It's going to be like people like you.
And people
that
like
go,
you.
I can't have my child suppressed. This artist cannot be suppressed trying to learn the facts of geometry. So it's going to take the individual mother out there, father, that goes, you know what, this doesn't work for child. So it's no one's going to do it for you. If it's something that is called within you and it's a breakdown for you and your family, you have the responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, if I coulda, I woulda maybe homeschooled, but I don't think I have that in me. I'll tell
I
you
tried
that.
it. Oh, that was,
Yeah, I don't think I
that
could.
was
They
a
wouldn't
lot.
listen. They'd probably just run off and go, "We gotta go." What? I don't want to learn that. Yeah, I don't think they would listen. I don't have that kind of relationship where they would sit down, pen and pad. But so yeah, I mean, there's so much else, you know. So tell me what else you do for fun. You do your show. You help counsel people.
Yeah, and we have.
What's your personal life like?
I mean, you know, I do a little salsa dancing every once in a while.
Somebody just asked me to go salsa dancing.
So much fun. We have to go.
I forgot the name of the. I love to dance.
Viva, maybe. It's a new place in Hollywood.
I don't. Yes, I think that was it. Are you a salsa dancer?
I mean,
I'm not the best salsa,
it's
but
the
I can-
best workout ever. You know,
like belly
I
dancing.
have to say, I pretty much work. I love my work. I wake up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning, depends, and I work all day and night, pretty much. Other than I have social events, but usually they're around work.
Yeah.
And then I have a.
That's how LA is a little bit. You know, it's something
Yeah.
people don't really understand. You know, when you go to social events, it is revolving a little bit around your work, but people enjoy that because if you enjoy what you're doing and the people you're doing it with, and the people you meet.
If you're purpose driven, if you're mission driven, it's not work. It's what you love. It's your passion.
What do you see for the upcoming year? Because I see, especially with the recent elections happening, I feel like a lot of people want to do a little more give back. It's not just something you
So
heard
much, right?
a little bit from people, but
Well, 2018 is an 11 year, and 11 year is a very powerful year. And what will definitely happen is our energy is magnified right now. So if you're using it for good, you will be exponentially quantified in your goodness. And if you're using it to destroy and have chaos, you're going to have a lot of breakdowns in 2018. So both is happening. I think that our news only broadcasts the negative, but there's just as much miracles, innovation, technology things that are happening, community coming about, like
phenomenal community,
phenomenal
not just
things
here.
happening in the world.
You know, and I like to say to people, travel. A lot of people don't have the money to travel. You can travel to your next town. You do not have to travel far away. Go travel somewhere and go look at something interesting. It doesn't have to be far away, you know, and then it opens your eyes a little bit.
It's called pattern interrupt. So what we want to do is when we're getting in a rut, when we're needing to have a bigger perspective, it's like my mentor used to say, take a piece of paper and like take your problems, and this is what it's like. It's like against you can't read it, you can't even see it. You've got to get some distance from it. So going away from your typical daily routine, that's why oftentimes when we travel, we begin to have a bigger perspective and go like, I never really thought of it like, I have a new inspirational feeling around all this. You've got to get out of your patterns, and we need both as human beings. We need consistency and habits, and we also need pattern interrupt and to get like completely newness.
I like what you said. You've got to get out of your patterns. And again, I liked it for folks who really are saying, well, I don't have the money for that. You live in LA, and it doesn't matter where you live, where you're from. Pattern interrupt can happen anywhere, right? You just have to look over there instead of looking over here, right?
Yeah, drive a different way to work. I don't know, whatever it is, like do something different.
Yeah.
Say yes to new adventures. That's my mantra.
I would
for the whole
say
year.
yes to new adventures. You've got a lot of mantras. You're a lot of fun. So okay, so people can find you. If they have a question for you, how can they find you?
I'm on social media mostly as drerin.tv. And that's a Doctor of Divinity, to be very clear. You can find me at Erin Fall Haskell. You can also look up on all social media, Good Morning La La Land. That's
It's a
an easy
really
one.
fun, smart show. I really enjoyed watching it. So,
Yeah.
And it's every day. They find you on Facebook.
Monday through Friday, 9 a.m.
And that's Pacific time.
Pacific time.
Actually, perfect time because, for people back
For
east.
LA, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. Anyway, thank you
No
for
one
being
wakes up
here.
before 9 in LA. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I actually have a lot of questions for you, but I'll save it for when the camera's off.
Sure.
How's that? Okay. Anyway, everybody, thanks for being here. It's been quite a week. I couldn't come here last week, as I said earlier. And, with the holidays coming upon us, just be mindful. Give where you can out of your own comfort zone. I'd just like to say that today before saying goodbye. Anyway, see you guys next week. Thanks for being here for Deborah Kobylt Live. See you next week.